Hi there, welcome to this video. In this video we're going to look at how to round off decimal number answers. Specifically when you get a long decimal number on your calculator, how do you round it off to get the proper rounded off answer? The question you're doing might instruct you to round to some number of decimal places. So let's say we have a number that looks like this. Let's pick the pen. 3.258,619 sitting on your calculator, and your teacher tells you to round to 2 decimal places. What they mean by that is they want to see 2 numbers past the decimal point once the number is rounded off. So they want to see 3 point number. Okay, so how you do this is you basically draw an imaginary line after the second decimal place, and you look at the number in the third decimal place. Now it says 3.258. Don't worry about any other numbers past that. If this number in the third position is 5 or higher, you round up. And what that means is you take the 5 in the second position and you round it up to the next highest number. Okay, so your answer would be 3.26. Okay, if we were dealing with a number that looked like 3.251439, for example, we were told to round to 2 decimal places, you would again draw that imaginary line and look at this number just past the line. We're rounding to 2 decimal places. Ignore all this. If this number is not 5 or higher, which it's not, it's a 1, you leave it alone. So if it's 4 or lower, don't round. Just cut off all the other numbers. So this would end up being 3.25. Okay, this makes it so half your answers are rounded up. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 is 5 or higher. That's 5 numbers that'll cause you to round up. And 0, 1, 2, 3, or 4 is 5 numbers that would cause you not to round. So half the time you round up and half the time you don't. Okay, it's no different, and I'm going to erase this page, so you could pause the video here if you'd like to jot that down, and I'll give you a second to do that. So pause now. Now after you've paused, we're going to erase this. Oop, that's the wrong thing I wanted to erase. Let's try that again. It might not be 2 decimal places that your teacher instructs you to round to. It might be some other number of decimal places. Especially in science, sometimes they go to quite a few decimal places. So if they tell you to round to 4 decimal places, it's exactly the same skill. Let's look at a number like 17.2963481. You got this ugly number on your calculator, and your teacher is asking you to round to 4 decimal places. Again, don't worry about the 17. We know the 17 is going to be part of the answer. We're rounding the decimal places. So we look at 1, 2, 3, 4. The 3 is in the 4th decimal place. So we have a little imaginary line there. We look at the very next number. Now again, the rule is if that number is 5 or higher, round the 3 up 1. If this number is 4 or lower, which is the case here, you leave this number alone. So this would be 17.2963 would be the final properly rounded answer there. The other instruction you might get is to round to the nearest whole number. And what this means is they don't want any decimal places. Round to 0 decimal places and get rid of the decimal part. So if we're looking at the number 286.713851 and you're told to round to the nearest whole number, that's not the first decimal place or the second or the third. That means round it off right here. We just want this number. So your imaginary line actually sort of goes right on top of where the decimal point is. The rule is the same though. If the number past this imaginary line is 5 or higher, we're going to round up, which is the case here. If it's 4 or lower, we're going to leave this alone. It's 5 or higher, so rounding 286.713851 to the nearest whole number would give us 287. You'll do that a lot in if you're doing like construction projects or whatever, where you have to buy materials in whole units. A lot of times you'll hear whole units or round to a whole number and just get rid of the decimals altogether. The other phrase you might hear is round up to the nearest whole number. Now, round up is not the same as round off. What you've been doing with the 5 or higher rule is rounding off. Rounding up means you always round up. So if we have a number like 38.13816 and we want to round up to the nearest whole number, again, the cutoff is here, but when you're rounding up, it doesn't matter what this number is, whether it's 5 or higher or not. We are going to round up. This says 38 point something. So because it's over 38, we're going to round that up to 39. Okay. That's like if you were using money, for example, and you knew something was going to cost you $38.13, but you only had loonies at home. How many loonies would you need to bring to buy this? You would round up to 39 loonies, because 38 loonies would not be enough to purchase what you needed to purchase. Okay. The only time you wouldn't round up when you're told to round up is if you actually had an answer that just looked like 76 and had no decimal places, then you would just leave it as 76. But if it was 76 point anything at all, it will round up to 77. And that's the end of the video. Thanks for watching.